at the issue of freedom to lead.
You have to kind of work twice as hard.
Good morning, Africa, and welcome to The Conversation. I am Nkanyan John.
And I'm Diaspora.
All right, without much ado, we go straight to developments across Africa, and we start from the home front, where the Nigerian army regained control of its military base in Mate in the northeast of the country on Sunday morning after intense fighting with jihadists of the Islamic State in West Africa, ISWAP. Now, the group claimed responsibility for the attack on Friday evening and still had control of the base on Saturday before being dislodged by the Nigerian army, whose troops of Operation Taka Bango in 7 of the group militarized trucks were destroyed, disseminated several terrorists, and are still in pursuit of the terrorists, as an official statement was issued as of Saturday evening. Now, the terrorists have since left the city, as did thousands of civilians who fled to Maiduguri, the capital of Borno State, which lies about 130 kilometers away from Mate.
Okay, so we're going to Uganda, where the Ugandan opposition leader, Bobby Wine, is calling on the international community to urge his house arrest to be lifted. He was placed under house arrest shortly after the results in Uganda was announced, and Museveni was declared winner for the 6th time, elected president for the 6th time. And Bobby Wine is also called for international sanctions against the president, the release of political prisoners, and international audit of the election for all nations to review their relations with Uganda, and the restoration of internet in Uganda, since restricted with social media access blocked and only access to VPN.
Well, interesting development. At least Ugandans are celebrating the fact that they can now communicate with the rest of the world.
With the rest of the world. I mean, that's quite interesting. And another story here is we're going to Tunisia for this one. Clashes erupted in Tunisia for a 4th consecutive evening on Sunday. In Ethad Haman, a neighborhood close to the capital, Tunis, the youth hurled rocks at riot police, who responded with tear gas. Dozens in the capital and other cities have been arrested during the nationwide violent demonstrations, which has seen shops and cars smashed and looted. The protests began during the start of the coronavirus lockdown on January 14th, which was 10 years to the day since the autocratic leader Ben Ali fled from power. But in this working-class neighborhood, no political slogans were heard, and it is unclear what the young people in Tunisia want.
Well, they want what all young people want. They want to be heard. Away from Tunisia to developments in Morocco, where Moroccan Jews may be packing their suitcases to board direct flights to Israel after the kingdom normalized ties in December in a U.S. brokered deal. Now, we hear that tickets for regular commercial flights have yet to go on sale due to bureaucratic delays and, of course, the coronavirus pandemic. The first direct commercial flight headed from Tel Aviv to Rabat in December after Morocco began the 6th Arab League member to normalize ties with Israel. Now, as part of the deal, the U.S. agreed to recognize Morocco's claim over the disputed Western Sahara region. Many in Casablanca welcome peace and the possible tourism benefits of this new relationship with Israel. And we hear that in Burundi, heavy rains have displaced thousands of people from their homes. The Gatumba region, located 5 kilometers from Bujumbura province, have experienced heavy downpour and floods resulting as a result of the downpour since Monday, January 11th, after the Rusizi River, a turbulent of lakes Tanganyika, overflow causing havoc in that region. Now, the victims are now asking for protection. They were quoted as saying, and I quote, "We are asking the government or other benefactors to build dislikes to protect the Rusizi River from our flood city," one of the victims said. Now, end of quote. Now, for environmental experts, in addition to the effects of climate change, the situation is aggravated by poor land planning.
And to Sudan, there has been a tribal clash in Sudan. Tribal clashes in Sudan restive, Darfur killed at least 48 people in the latest bout of violence to hit the region. Saturday's clashes initially pitted the Masalt tribe against Arab nomads in Algeria, about 2 weeks after the United Nations and African Union ended a 13-year peacekeeping mission in Darfur. This occurred when armed militias allied to the Arab nomads then attacked El Janea, and several houses were set on fire. According to eyewitnesses, Prime Minister Abdullah Hamdok sent a high-ranking delegation to West Darfur to try restore order. That is quite sad, actually. And now to our COVID-19 updates. Rwanda and Malawian authorities are shutting down nurseries and primary school due to surge in COVID-19 cases. Rwanda closed schools just in the capital, Kigali, but the education minister said schools in other regions will also shut if more cases are confirmed. It comes after schools reopened in November after 8 months of being closed. The country has reported more than 11,000 cases and 142 deaths since the outbreak. Malawi said it will shut down schools for at least 15 days and announced all bars will also close at 8 p.m. after reporting no positive cases for almost 2 months. The country has seen a sudden resurgence after 2 months. Malawi reported over 12,000 cases and some 300 deaths since the pandemic started last year. Authorities said a third of those deaths were reported in the past 16 days.
And here are more COVID-19 updates, and when we come back, we will be giving you all the latest happenings as far as the national dailies here in Nigeria are concerned. Do stay with us.
Welcome back. If you're just joining, it's The Conversation here on TOS TV Network. And we're going to be moving straight into the national dailies, starting with The Punch. The gaping headline on The Punch says, NUT meets Thursday over COVID-19 rules. Partial compliance recorded. That's on school resumptions. Under that, we have pupils without face masks sent home in Abuja, Enugu, and Plateau. That's quite interesting. Ondo, Ogun schools ignore protocols. Reps panels disagree on resumptions. And another one says additional 10 million vaccines doses likely in March, says federal government. And down under that, Lagos to unction 88 vehicles seized for traffic violation. Wow. Amotekun alleges Oyo Akada operators working for kidnappers. Wow. Engineer jailed for 6 months for defrauding American of 19.6 million naira. Akeredolu orders headsmen out of forest. That is on the bottom left of the Punch newspaper. And Futa demands highway security as short registrar dies. And then on the right-hand side of that, we have religious fanatics twisting Kuka's statement to divert attention. That's Wale Soyinka saying that. And on the right hand, at the top left, we have PDP holds Okorocha as ex-governor lampoons APC plans party. NDLEA seizes 21.9 kg cocaine at Abuja airport, begins probe. And then telcos submit 43 million NINs to NIMC for verification. That is, if you want more stories, you have to get the Punch newspaper to, read fully on those headlines.
Interesting stories on the Punch, but if you're business savvy like I am, then you should grab yourself a copy of the Business Day. On the front page of the Business Day, you have 5 reasons Nigeria's energy sector not better 5 years after. That is one story I bet almost every Nigerian would want to get all the juicy details. And of course, still on the front page, right underneath that gaping headline, you have PIB's torturous journey, and quite a descriptive graph on the front page of Business Day. They can be quite analytical as far as Business Day is concerned. And on the right-hand side of the front page of Business Day, you have COVID-19, the necessity of invention, 5 trends to watch. That, I think, is a must-read for most Nigerians. And at the bottom, underneath of that, on the inside, it's with a blue strip, just to let you know that this story is inside the paper. So if you're interested, get yourself a copy of the Business Day. It says, Business Day's African Business Convention to prepare businesses for, guess what? After. I'm always excited about stories about after. So those are the stories on the front page of the Business Day. So grab yourself a copy.
Okay, so we're going to be moving on to the Guardian newspaper. The headline says Nigeria's rail cost exceed African Union estimates by over 100%. And under that, we have non-competitive bidding responsible, says experts. Contracts awarded before preliminary designs. NRC is in better position to speak on subject, insists Transport Ministry. We are not part of contract signing, NRC says. Kano Maradi project signed despite African Development Bank's funding advisory. That's quite interesting. No one is trying to take responsibility for that. And under that, federal government releases 10 billion naira for COVID-19 vaccine productions. It says vaccines will arrive soon. And no COVID-19 test required for resumption of students, says federal government. And under that, we have Ekiti court sentences ACP technician to life over stolen vehicle. Amazing. Ondo orders herdsmen to vacate forest reserves, bans night grazing. And on the right-hand side, Alumelu, that's Tony Alumelu, assures of shared prosperity, economic development, acquires 45% in OML 17. That is on the Guardian newspaper this morning.
Interesting. Guardian always have a way of, subtly putting those those headlines out there. All right, let's do the Leadership newspaper this morning. Anxiety over rapid spread of COVID-19 as schools resume. Now, this is one story you would probably catch on the front page of most of the national dailies today. The schools resumed yesterday. A whole lot of fallout. Parents are reacting, Nigerians are reacting. And don't forget, I think that should be the next big story. The decision that will be taken by the National Assembly, who are not particularly in support of the resumption of schools.
Exactly.
All right. So, but for the Leadership newspaper, under that headline, you have a number of writers. Parents reluctant to send wards back to school. Can't blame them. All right. Now, partial compliance with protocols across states. Tests not required for reopening. That's according to the federal government. And releases 10 billion naira for local vaccines. Nigeria to receive 10 million doses in the month of March. Those are the writers underneath that headline on the Leadership newspaper. Now moving just to the top, it has this very interesting headline. It says CBN to crash price of maize with 300,000 metric tons intervention. Of course, yesterday we did talk about the fact that inflation had gone up
Yes.
for almost 17%.
16, was it 16 or 17?
Yeah, 16, 17%.
Yeah.
So it's understandable to see that the Apex Bank is stepping in to give some form of intervention to control the price of maize in the market. Underneath that story, we have that headline in black: troops kill 35 bandits in Kaduna, Zamfara. Talking about insecurity across the country. And then let's go to the bottom strip of the front page of the leadership, where you have a number of headlines there. Southwest governors read riot act to kidnappers, criminals. Southwest governors read riot act to kidnappers, criminals. Now, arrest those threatening Bishop Kuka, Wale Soyinka tells the federal government. Arrest those threatening Bishop Kuka. And one of the latest stories making the rounds have it that Bishop Kuka has actually been given an appointment by the Pope. Yeah, breaking news, you could call it. All right, just got that this morning.
Oh, wow, amazing.
Yeah, Bishop Kuka has just been given a very important appointment by Pope Francis. So take note of that. And still on the front page of the leadership, 2023, design your winning formula. XACF scribe tells Igbo. Design your winning formula. XACF scribe tells Igbo. And you have PMB restates commitment to democracy in Africa. That's President Muhammadu Buhari reinstates commitment to democracy in Africa. Now that is very important considering what we've seen happen in Uganda.
Exactly.
You know, in the build-up to 2023. I'm sure Africa and Africans have high expectations of Nigeria and Nigerians. All right, EFCC arraigns Aisha Wakili over fresh 41.7 million naira fraud. And finally, APC summons Abdulrazak Mohammed over Kwara crisis.
The leadership has quite interesting headlines this morning. So we're going to be moving on to the Daily Trust, which is going to be our last for the morning. Uproar as Akeredolu asks headsmen to leave Ondo. Under that, it says, bad elements masquerading as herders. That's not what we discussed with government. Miyeti Allah, that's in response to asking them to leave Ondo State. His directives affront on Nigerian constitution. And Alafin assures Fulani of safety tackles Amotekun. And on the resumption of schools, schools differ on COVID-19 protocols. And then under that, we have French-speaking criminals invade Yoruba land, Amotekun commander is saying. Coronavirus kills 77 Nigerians in 1 week. Wow. And to the right, court forfeits 88 vehicles to Lagos government over a traffic violation. And on the top of the daily, the headline there says, crude worth 76 billion naira lost to pipeline vandals in 2020. We're still having to deal with pipeline vandalization. Amazing. Defection, Dogara not our member, APC. That's quite funny. Boy. And then Jonathan shares 18th Trust dialogue on restructuring. That is basically it on the front page of the Daily Trust newspapers. If you want to read more on these stories, you have to get yourself the Daily Trust and every other newspaper that we've reviewed here on the show this morning. Moving on, we are going to be going to our big story for the day. Don't go anywhere, we'll be right back.
North to South Africa, East to West Africa, TOS TV Network is your digital-first Pan-African news network, bringing you news from across the continent. Visit our website www.
I've been in Western Zone 3 for the past close to 4 hours. And when they eventually came to my turn, they told me that I cannot get my sleep there, that I should come to the headquarters here. I came down here and the desk officer there told me that they have shut down the system here. So the situation is alarming now. They have to do something possible to stop this. People are suffering. You understand? I don't think the deadline is visible because half of the people are not being captured. My appeal to the government is they should give us time. They should give extension. Government can NIMS can get ad hoc workers, those that they can just employ for this job for the exercise. After that, they can send them away so that they can reduce the crowd. The crowd is just too much.
They carry people, they run up and down. We come here, they push us, we go Ibro Hotel. From Ibro Hotel, we go there, they write our names. Say they go call by name. We did there since morning. They not do anything. They go push us go here. They go push us go here. They just turn us like akara for fire. So we don't know what thing they happen. If they not go do, may they let us know so that everybody go sit down for us rest. Some people leave their working places to come here to do what thing they're supposed to do. They not do. We are tired. If they not go do anything, may they allow everybody, make him go do waiting there for in front.
Then give me number 6 last year. They said today is a resumption day, I should come and register. When I even set my alarm around that 3:30 that I woke up to make it possible for me to come and register today. When we came to this place, they said we should find our Zoom. We went there. They said when we went to that Ibro Hotel, they said we should join queue. We joined queue. They write our name. For how many hours we are standing for queue? Nobody attends to us. They are shouting, barking like a dog. Me, I'm tired and sick. I want to go and rest. If they want to block the scene, let them block the scene. I don't care.
The situation now, you can see that situation is becoming unbecoming. People are becoming and people are going without taking their NIN number. So my suggestion is that government should just please to find another substitute for this. Maybe we can use of our bank number, which has most of our details, or our birth certificate, or our work result also, which have most of our details. So in substitute to this, coming here is another danger to our health also.
They said we should come today. We came today again. They said we should pay 5,000 naira before they can give us the NIN number, which is wrong. The government said we should go and register our NIN number so that we can put it in place in other sections. But for now, things are just happening in the wrong way. Look at crowds gathering everywhere. This country has gone, as in we are old enough to have all these things done digital, online.
All right, Nigerians there expressing their frustrations and disappointment at not being able to get their national identity number NIN. It's been an ongoing, will I call it drama?
Actually. You can actually
ongoing
say
drama
yes.
Since the government issued an ultimatum that every Nigerian, and I mean every Nigerian, you're talking well over 200 million Nigerians getting their NIN number and linking it with their phone lines. So if you have 6 phone lines,
yes.
you have to link them. You know what I'm saying? Well, we'll be joined by our guest, Jide Ojo, a social commentator and public affairs analyst. Jide, good morning. Hello, Jide. Okay, we seem to be having some connection issues with Jide, but we will do our best to try to make that connection. Jide is reaching us all the way from Lagos via the phone line. So while we're trying to make that connection, so have you gotten your NIN?
Hello.
Okay, Jide is back. Good morning, Jide. Hello, Jide. Okay, we're still having a bit of connection issues. Hello, Jide.
Hello.
Jide, can you hear me? Okay, I think we've lost Jide there again. But we
Are
will
you sure
keep,
it's not his
we
SIM
will-
card issue? Maybe
we
he
will,
hasn't
we will,
linked it.
we will keep trying to reconnect. You see, you know, these things happen. These things happen. So, as I was saying, have you gotten your
I
NIN
think
number?
I have. I have my NIN, but I think I have linked it up with my phone lines. But I'm not sure because I tried it severally, and then the one time that it finally felt like it worked, I didn't get any confirmation.
How many
nothing.
phone lines do you have?
I have 2.
Oh,
And I
well,
have
the
to-
average Nigerian has about
That's-
2 to
yes,
3 phone
yeah,
lines, but don't be
exactly.
surprised to find Nigerians with as much as 6 lines.
I know somebody that has 10 phone numbers. I don't know why. I don't know, but they have as much as 10 phone lines and having to link. And you know, there are quite a number of Nigerians that don't even have a national identity number, and they have to. Have you tried? Okay, I think we have Jide back on the line. So.
Yeah, so Jide, good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, nice to have you join us on the conversation. I am John Nkamiang, and Nkamiang John, if you remember, and I've got Diaspora here as well. So how are you doing, Jide? Yeah. So Jide, let me ask you, have you gotten your NIN linked to your phones?
No.
Oh.
And in fact, I wish you had somebody from NIN there.
Wow.
I actually did register. I was one of the early registrants.
Okay.
When during the Olusegun Obasanjo administration, then I was in Lagos, but I didn't have a mobile phone as at that time.
Okay.
So I have this card. I actually collected my card.
Wow.
But as it were, we are now being asked to link, to check using hashtag 346 to check. I've checked, my number is not on the portal.
Wow.
Obviously, so because as at the time I did register, I didn't have a mobile number so to be able to capture my phone number. But as it were, maybe I will have to do another registration because all the, for your information, I actually wrote about this issue for this day, this morning.
Wow.
The lawyer pulled up. It was the cover story for this day. Now, when I read some of the references, the Minister for Communication and Digital Economy was referring to NIN Act 2007.
Yeah.
And my own registration predates 2007 because I think I did mine around 2001 or 2002 when Sunday Afolabi was Minister of Internal Affairs.
Yeah.
And we have DNCR with their office at Worcester. Having said that, I am of the opinion that it's a very good gesture. It's a desirable thing to do for us to capture all Nigerians, telephone users, for all of us to have a national identification number.
Yeah.
You know that in US, we have, they call it social security number.
Yes.
You cannot do any legit business without having your number quoted on your transaction. So it helps in security, it helps in planning, it helps in many other diverse ways. But my own argument is other countries that did it, did they do it in 2 weeks or 2 months as Nigeria is trying to do it? And if you insist that this is a priority project for the federal government, can we do the way Atari Jega of INEC did in 2011, when INEC, ahead of the 2011 general election, decided to do a nationwide voter registration? And the commission got the resources to buy 130,000 direct data capturing machine and deployed to the 119,973 polling units of the country. So in 1 week, INEC was able to capture all eligible voters,
yes.
18 years and above.
True.
Because it was done at the polling unit level. But here you are, When I was researching for the article I wrote today, I discovered that we only have 173 registered agents and government parastatals doing this registration.
Yeah.
173. The least we can do is to have, at least if we can't do polling unit registration, let's do ward registration. We have 8,809 wards, or what they call, what I know we call registration areas. If you cannot do that, then let's do 774 local government, 774, and then give people sufficient time to register. So you don't compromise people's health.
Yeah.
As is
especially
currently
under the COVID-19 situation.
Exactly, because that is my point. What is the haste? If you say it's to curb insecurity, are we saying once every Nigerians with mobile numbers and if every Nigerians have national identification number, there won't be crime again? It's just going to be a step for several other things to complement it, for it to be useful for security purposes. By the way, John, you do know that the bandits in Sanfara in Katsina.
Yes.
At least I can talk of Katsina. The government of Katsina knows these bandits. The governor had a picture with the head of the bandits 2 years ago, which was trending in the social media. The guy had his gun on him. The man from the army was there, DSS was there, the governor was there, and they took picture with this bandit. How did they communicate him? How did they get, and they didn't arrest him. When they were negotiating with all these people, they must have a link to them.
True.
The bottom line, what I'm saying is that, yes, I'm not despising the fact that this is a noble gesture. It is indeed a noble gesture. But I'm saying, don't compromise people's health because you want to get them registered on national database. Because what is currently going on is really disheartening, to say the least.
Okay, Jide, I know Adeswa wants to ask you a question, but before Adeswa launches at you, I just want to share something I came across on social media by a Nigerian on Twitter. He said, in Nigeria, you use a local government identity certificate to register for international passport, then use international passport to register for driver's license, then use driver's license to register for NIN, then use NIN to register your SIM card. And he concluded by saying a government of confusion and debt. This seems to be the impression that Nigerians have. Isn't there a more seamless way that government could have built a database and issued what we could now refer to as social security number or national ID number without having to put Nigerians through this current trauma that Nigerians are experiencing all across the country?
John, you are spot on. In the article I'm referencing, which is in today's Tuesday, I actually traced the presidential order of 2015. When President Muhammadu Buhari registered in 2015, when he got his national identification number, the vice president issued a presidential order that all the data capturing agencies in Nigeria should work together to integrate all of these data with NIFC, that's Nigerian Identity Management Commission.
Yes.
This was given 6 years ago. This order was given 6 years ago. That, okay, Nigerians have that data with their banks, that's to get the bank verification number. They have with, in collecting the national driving license. They have with international passports.
Yes.
If you want, you have it with immigration. If you want to collect international passport, even for telecoms, all of us have been paid to go and register our SIMs with our data captured, our face, our fingerprints.
Yes.
So if you have about 5, 6 agencies collecting the same data. And I forgot to mention INEC. INEC also have over 84 million registrants.
True. Very true.
On its database. Why can't we have this integration, and those who are yet to get national identification number they can then generate for them, because they already have their features. They have their faces, they have their number, they have their fingerprints. So if this presidential order that was given 5 years ago has not been complied with, should Nigerians be made to be at the receiving end?
Big question.
And by the way, what is sacrosanct that we must have this national identification number this very month of January 2021? It's an ongoing thing. It was only 3 days ago that the Minister of Communication and Digital Economy was just saying that the diplomatic community also have to register.
Yes.
They didn't even come out with what about the aliens, those who are not non-Nigerians, who are working, who are residing in Nigeria. There was no information. There was no frequently asked questions. It was only this 3 days ago that they now said, starting from today, January 19th, they will open a registration center for all diplomats at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs.
Yeah.
I mean, these are things that should have been thought through. And it's not only diplomats that are working in Nigeria, John.
True.
It's not only diplomats. We have many international donor agencies. There are many other foreigners doing legitimate businesses in Nigeria. Many of them have been in quandary. Are they going to be affected? Would their SIM be blocked? Would they also have to register like Nigeria? Because the national identification number is actually supposed to be meant for the citizens of the country.
Yeah, true.
So I can't go to America today and ask for a social security number. No, unless I've been granted citizenship of America.
True.
That's when I will get the social security number.
Okay,
so
Femi.
These are things that have not been thought through, and they are stampeding Nigerians to go and register without having sufficient number of outlets where people who have this registration exercise in a seamless manner.
Okay, Mr. Judith, talking about registering in a seamless manner, I do know that network providers had tried to, make it easy for Nigerians by creating a website and asking you to just register on there, and then they generate a NIN for you via your BVN number. But NIMC has said that even if that happens, it's invalid. You still have to come to NIMC and register and get a NIN. That's the only one that recognizes it. How do you think we can actually find a balance between that? Having to make things easier and then NIMC saying, no, it's either ours or not. How can we find a balance between that?
My sister, it's a tough work. These people are just after budget. They want their own resources. In fact, I listened to the DG of NIMC. Was it last Saturday or the upper Saturday on Weekend File on NT? And he said they are working on what he called the ecosystem registration. In which case, if you want to get your driving license, as you are registering to get your driving license, a NIMC official will also be there to capture you.
Oh.
And if you want to get international passport, the same thing will be done for you. If you want to get SIM registration, somebody will also be there to capture and generate NIN for you. Now, that is a commendable effort if that is to be done. But what I'm saying is that this cannot be done in 6 weeks or in 2 months or even in 1 year.
But Jide, isn't that a duplication? I mean, you're renewing or registering for an international passport or national driver's license, and you are doing both the registration for the license and a national identification number. You talked earlier about integrating this database. I mean, isn't that duplication? Isn't that waste of public funds in itself?
Well, it is, but the understanding I have is that it is not the same device that will be used to capture your the registration for NIN it will be separate. It's just that there will be an official from NIN or a staff of the communication company who will just be registering people solely for NIN purposes.
Okay.
Am I communicating?
Yes,
Because
yes.
if you look at I checked the website of NIMC, and I discovered that they have licensed private operators to also collect NIN for them, to also generate NINs for, to register people and generate NINs for them. So several other government agencies like INEC, like EFCC, and some other government agencies, they also have registration points at those places. But my own understanding is that it's not going to be the staff of INEC or staff of EFCC that will be doing the registration. It will be staff of Nigerian Identity Management Commission that will just be posted there, that will just be, and they can do this. Look, at the airport, you can have registration point there. At the motor parks, you can have a table set for people who are waiting for their buses to fill up before they move. They can use that opportunity to register. This should be made seamless.
All right.
You are waiting for your flight. I recall that 2 years ago or thereabout, voluntary assets declaration stuff that government gave 6 months for people to have those who do not have tax. Those who do not have tax identification number or something.
Yeah.
See that at the airport they have a kiosk where people were being registered for VAIDs. They call it VAIDS.
Yeah.
I've seen it at the airport, white cubicle like this. And while people were waiting for their flights, they go there to register.
Well,
so
Femi,
the whole lesson,
Jide,
the whole thing for me is that we need to decentralize this.
Yes.
Have multiple channels where
Across the
people
country.
will not have to queue. People will move in, register in 5-10 minutes. They are done. They can go back to their business. Not situations where you have hundreds of people, banging on the gates of NIMC without wearing masks, without physical distancing, and thereby compromising public health.
Thank you so much, Jide. We really appreciate that you could make out time to be with us on this edition of The Conversation. And we hope that moving forward, when we call on you once again, that you will oblige us with your presence.
Definitely. Thanks for it's the honor. I esteem it a great honor and privilege to speak with you on this topic.
Thank you, Jide.
Please keep safe and stay blessed.
You too. You too. Have a great day. All right, that was Jide Ojo, public affairs analyst and a columnist, like you heard, on this day. Yeah. So go get yourself a copy and read Jide's article. It just might be incisive. You need that information, especially as regards the national identity number. It's still The Conversation. We'll take a break, and when we come back at Diaspora, we'll be taking us through what's trending.
Welcome back. So right about now on the show, we're going to be taking trending issues on social media. And today, what has been trending is the issue of the national identification number and linking it up to your phone lines. And that has been creating an uproar on social media because today is actually the deadline for registration. So if you haven't registered, your phone line is going to be cut until you actually, are able to do that, get your name registered, link it up with your phone numbers. And Nigerians have quite a lot to say about that. Check out this Vox Pop about Nigerians, expressing their view on the national identification number. Okay, so we're going to be taking some tweets. You know, Nigerians are very, very expressive people and funny, especially when it's on social media. This one by Matt Adekoya says, "My SIM can't make call. I hope it's not about this NIMC registration." And Effion_Oyo says, "I think NIMC will have to extend their date to enable everyone register the SIM card." E_Jaga says, "I've linked both my numbers though through the NIMC app." The Emperor Zola says, "Go and download NIMC app on Play Store and link it yourself. Don't wait for MTN." And then the last one is by Dapa Kesi. He says, "If you have a NIN, just download the NIMC mobile app and link as many as 7 phone lines seamlessly." What do you think about that?
You know, as it is, it's only natural that Nigerians will find some way to get the registration done, coupled with the fact that the deadline ends today. But there are some Nigerians who are of the opinion that in the typical Nigerian fashion, it will be extended, yes, and like that before we go back to what was what seemed to be normal, where you could just walk in to the NIN office and simply do your registration. I did mine, I think 2007. I have the slip. I haven't gotten the card yet, but I have my number. I could just click the code and my number appears. I think I've linked it to one of my lines. So
what happens to the
once I leave the studio now, I need to link the second line.
One.
You know, for some lines, I think with MTN it's almost automatic.
Automatic, yes.
It's almost automatic. Yes. So it depends on what service provider you're using. But just double check to make sure that your lines don't get blocked. I had one of the respondents in the previous Vox Pop that we took, where the young lady was so frustrated and said, you know what, if they block the line, they block the line, life goes on. But surprisingly, the truth is, in today's world, communication has become an integral part of...
You can't do without it.
Exactly, of daily lifestyle.
Especially if you've had the SIM for like a long time. For people that have had their SIM card for 10, 15 years, I mean, all the connects and contacts you have are on there, and then it gets blocked. You can't do anything with it. That can be really frustrating. But my worry is with people in rural communities who don't even know what's going on, or who don't even know what NIMC is, or NIN, or what you have to do. Do you understand?
Exactly.
How do you now, how is the government going to create a balance and ensure that this happens, these people are sensitized enough to know that, okay, we have to do this, or care enough to actually want to do that?
I worry because in a time where technology is at our fingertips, you would expect that government at every point in time would embrace technology and deploy technology when they want to implement policies like this. And then everybody is asking the question, where's the National Orientation Agency?
Yes.
Because it is their primary responsibility to go to the nooks and crannies of the country, enlightening and orientating people about the policies of government so as to get everybody up and running and on the same page with whatever it is government is trying to put in place. But for a number of years now, the National Orientation Agency, I'm sorry to say, seems to be moribund, sleepy, and you wonder that being an agency of government saddled with the responsibility of more or less informing the public of every move government takes in terms of policy, that it hasn't been up and doing with that primary responsibility.
Well, I hope the government maybe extends this period and that those cut people's lives today, give them time to register, get their name, get their NIN and register their phone lines, so we can stay in communication. Thank you so much for joining us. That's so much we can take on the conversation this morning. But the conversation continues tomorrow, comes on your screen at 8 a.m. every weekday. Do not forget to follow and like TOS TV across all social media platforms. That's Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And you can follow us on YouTube as well as TOS TV Network. Also, TOS is available on TSTV channel 138 as TOS News. Thank you again. I am Diaspora.
I am Nkamien John.
Thank you for watching.
When we look at the issue of freedom to lead